Rivers State is preparing to end 6 months of emergency rule imposed by President Bola Tinubu after a political crisis. With the handover to democratic governance drawing near, sole administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas has called on residents and politicians to put aside rivalry and work for the state's progress. At a Thanksgiving service in Port Harcourt on Sunday, he said Rivers State has moved from instability to relative calm under the emergency measures. He urged leaders to avoid violence, youths to channel their energy into peace, and community elders to keep guiding the state towards unity. The chaplain at the event also appealed to citizens to forgive past grievances and join efforts to rebuild Rivers State. Meanwhile, opposition parties have demanded a probe into Ibas's 6-month rule, questioning his management of state resources. The PDP called the administration unconstitutional and a waste of time, while the NNPP dismissed it as illegitimate from the start. The Labour Party alleged the emergency rule served the interest of President Tinubu and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, not the people. Well, for a review of the 6-month tenure of emergency rule in Rivers State and the political undertones amid constitutional debate about the suspension of a democratically elected governor, Arise News analyst Sobowale joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
It's a pleasure being here. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
It's a pleasure seeing you.
So, Mr. Sobowale, how would you assess the sole administrator's performance, in the last 6 months? And do you agree with calls by opposition parties for an investigation into his tenure?
Yes, let them do all the investigations in the world. But this has been a very successful adventure, political adventure. There was problem on the ground, and there was chaos. There was a dispute between the governor, who literally sacked the legislature. And the case got to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled. That is the rule of law. And government followed that instruction. But you see, we are in an era of scoffer politics. Before they probe the man, let us congratulate him first and foremost for achieving his task and doing the handover not like his boss asked him to, and doing a Thanksgiving service. That's from chaos and disorderliness and the burning of the legislative house. There is order and there is equanimity, and everybody is looking forward to a successive handover. I admire that. But you see, the opposition in Nigeria and people who don't even want this government to breathe, they never say anything good in what has happened. But this is a good transition. Some people even call the Ibas regime military regime. It's not the military regime. It is under a democracy, and it is perfectly done. And luckily, even elderly statesman, Bode George, said they will not hand over, and the place will be like a wet year during 1960. That's an exaggeration. You can't be wishing your political system ill wind, things that are not peaceful. I am happy at the way it has turned out. And if they want to probe him, let them probe it. I don't mind that. But he has done a good job. Let us applaud him for that first. Yes.
But I'm wondering, how well has the emergency rule addressed the underlying issues that led to this crisis, which is actually the conflict between Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike? Yeah. And how do we know that such similar issues will not happen again in future? We know there's been some sort of reconciliation. We are not privy, to the agreement or whatever was signed. Okay. But how well do you think this has addressed the issues? Let me answer your question. Talk away.
He has done his handing over note. And Fubara will resume, or if he does not resume, we want to know why. But he is supposed to resume. So when Fubara comes, we will see under what context and under what arrangement he will be operating. But I will assume the house will resume because he was supposed to have sacked the house. And you have the separation of powers in a presidential system. You have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. With the end of emergency rule now, the 3, which were supposed not to be, 2 of them are not supposed to be in place, will be in place. Then we will see what transpires. And he has written his report. I'm not privy to his report, neither are you. And so you cannot really say that this thing will not happen again. It's a human situation, and the context is different. I am not a soothsayer, so I won't say it will not happen again. But this is a crisis well managed. Elsewhere in the US, Trump said because law and order has broken down in the capital, he sent troops there. He said law and order, to enforce his immigration policy, he sent troops to California. And they brought in law and order. We did not do that. Please let us applaud ourselves when we do something nice. It's not always that we allow scoffer, contrarian politics to prevail. If we have done something in an orderly manner, we can beat our chest. I think this is one of such things. Yes.
But how well has this emergency rule served the people of Rivers State? Some people argue that it seems it is actually the APC that benefited the most, especially when you look at the result of the local government elections. Very briefly.
In every local government elections, ever since, have you ever seen where the opposition has won? So this is not an exception. But even here, even PDP won some seats. And you remember that at the stage in Rivers, because of the wiki intervention and pressure, at the stage you don't even know which part of the government is APC or which one is PDP. But you see, you have resolved a nagging, testy, combustible emergency. And you are handing over, unlike the emergency ruler is handing over to democratic elected government. We have managed the crisis well, unlike in other places. And in spite of the misgivings and the bad wishes of some people who just don't wish the political system to be peaceful and look after the people, which is what it is selected to do. Yes.
All right, Analyst, Sobowale, it's always a pleasure to have you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us.